Hello, good morning team. My name is Asim. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to see one DevSecOps projects where we are going to deploy Starbucks web application onto Kubernetes cluster, right? Before heading toward the implementation of this project, let us have the overview of this project, right? What we are going to cover on this, right? First, if you check it over here, there is a flow which we are going to integrate that from the Jira, we will be assigning the ticket from our team leader, right? Where the developer will push the code to the GitHub. Then we have integration of multiple tools, DevOps tools, which we are going to integrate in the CI/CD concepts. We are using Jenkins as a tool where we are going to integrate multiple tools and we are going to trigger the pipeline from the Jenkins, right? Basically for the deployment, Jenkins one pipeline and then another Jenkins pipeline to deploy into Kubernetes cluster, right? So before heading towards in this project, we are going to cover the three responsibilities as well, right? The main responsibilities of the DevOps, SRE, and the platform engineering. If we check it over here, what is a platform engineer responsibility? That means he's responsible to create the infrastructure on any cloud provider that is AWS, right? And he will be managing the application lifecycle management. He's responsible to service orchestration and containerization. The next coming is the DevOps engineer. DevOps is the engineer, the collaboration between developer team, right, and operations team. So DevOps engineer has a good hands-on knowledge where how he can ship the code from the GitHub, right, which is basically your distributed version control system to the production environment. It is Kubernetes clustered out. So he have all the insights of the DevOps tools, what we are going to integrate, what the security we are going to implement, everything. So he's acting as a middle layer between these two teams to make sure our application is easy, fast delivered to the market. Okay. So then we have SRE who's going to main responsibility to manage and monitor reliable and to make sure that it's available high availability of our application and to make sure that incident response to make a document out of that and to do all the incident reporting what happened and how we can fix it, right? So this part three parts we are going to cover everything as a part of that. Heading towards this, basically GitHub repository contains our code. That code has been pushed by developer. So developer has written this code. So I'm not the developer. So whoever the developer it is, so we giving out a shout out to him, right? So if you check it over here, I have everything like the dependency of this application. Then I have configuration file related to Kubernetes monitoring. Then I have Terraform code within that. Then I have Docker Jenkins file, everything, right? If you check it over here, right, with the application, we are going to see this application with the package JSON. What are the dependency of this package JSON, right? So all the libraries of this React JS, everything. So basically it's written in the React JS and it's run on the Node.js application, right? Node.js programming language. So basically it's a JavaScript. Okay. So all the dependency has been written, and here in the package log JSON also he have written everything. Okay. So now if we switch back over here, then this source code which you've seen is a monolithic architecture. All the modules are in a go. That means it's package. We have not distributed as a microservices. Okay. So it's a monolithic application where we are going to see user interface, that is UI of this application after deployment. Okay. So now if we check over here with the continuous integration strategy, right, what we are going to manage with this one, right? So simply what we are going to do it, right? The source code has been pushed to GitHub as I mentioned, right? Source code pushed to GitHub repository. Okay. From there we are doing static code analysis using SonarQube. Okay. Using SonarQube we are doing static code analysis. Okay. After that the pipeline will be triggered because we are writing a Jenkins pipeline. With this pipeline what we are going to do, we are going to do testing. So currently the developer has not written any unit testing for that, so we are skipping this part, but in the real time they will write unit testing. So that part is from Jakarko we are using, right? And the unit testing will be done by SonarQube as well. Okay. So that can be handled, but currently we are not handling this part where we are going to create the artifacts and store that artifacts into one application, right? It can be you can call it as an access repository S3, depend on the use case. Okay. So here after that the code will ship to different environment. Okay. So that means after that we are going with the generation of application where we are deploying this application into staging environment for the testing. Then we are following a rollback strategy, rollback strategy, right, to deploy into Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and here we are using AWS as a cloud provider. Okay, so this is coming with the continuous testing and continuous deployment, right? Then afterwards, when you go it over here in the CI/CD, what do you mean by CI/CD pipeline, right? Continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline, basically content of multiple stages. Okay, where the codes reside, it is in the GitHub, and the build we are using npm build, right? Because we are using JavaScript, where we are using to build this application using npm build. Then we are going for the SonarQube testing, Trivy testing, and we are going for attaching we are going to review that testing as well. Then we are going to deploy this application into as a Docker container, right, into EKS cluster, that is Kubernetes cluster, right? After that, we are going to monitor this with a Grafana dashboard and Prometheus scrapping, right? Data scrapping, right? Prometheus. So this part is clear from your end. So what are the benefits we are going to get when you are going to create one CI/CD pipeline in terms of software, right? So what we will get faster delivery, right? Faster deployment, that whenever the code is pushed to a GitHub repository, automated will be triggered, where we are going to add one webhook, right? Webhook, what will done whenever the changes in the repository in any file done, that will code will be deployed into to the environment, right? Using that using webhook. Okay, so after that, it will improve the quality. How it will improve the quality? That means whenever the code failed in the deployment stage, we will receive a one email, right, to the developer teams and who are responsible. They will receive immediately one email with all the details and what the caused the this deployment to be failed. So as soon as they will get, they will debug this and they will fix again, they will push this code for deployment with the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so with this one, they will do improve the quality, right? Always. Okay, so after that, as I mentioned, that it will enhance the collaboration between the team, dev team and the operation team. So if we can diagnose what's caused this application to crash or failure in the deployment stage, right? Reliable deployment, that we can go with the multiple approach, green, blue deployment, right? We can go with multiple strategies for the deployment. Okay, rapid feedback, as I mentioned, that whenever we are going to deploy this application into environment like Kubernetes cluster, then we can have rapid feedback, in the sense we can have the monitoring as well with the time frame. We can have the logs and we can check it out what cause feedback we are going to receive from the application state and in the failure state or in the spike of the resources, right? Anything happens, we can find everything with this CI/CD benefits. Okay, then afterwards, if you're going to check it over here, how we are going to do it now, there is a two approach to do it. That, as I mentioned, that we can go with automated part, and we can go with the manual part as well. Currently, we are going with the automated part, because we are using CI/CD tool, that is Jenkins tool, right? Where we are going to write one Jenkins pipelines. With the scripted pipeline, we are going to deploy this application as a Docker container to EC2 instance, right, to test this functionality. Then we are going to deploy with another pipeline to Kubernetes cluster. Okay, Kubernetes cluster. So this part we are going to cover with this part. Okay, so all the flow we have discussed. Now we will go and we will create the infrastructure in order to host this application, right? So as I mentioned, we required one AWS infrastructure, right? So we'll create infrastructure for this.